Welcome to how I went from giving up on being a hairstylist to a six-figure stylist without wasting time and money investing into products or programs that didn't work. And again, I want to formally welcome you to my first masterclass that I am hosting, where you get to pretty much watch this at your leisure 24/7. You can rewatch it as many times as you like to take out some of the jewels that I'm going to be dropping throughout this masterclass. Now, I just want to let you know that you are in the right place if you are a stylist, but you quit for a minute due to lack of consistent income. You're also in the right place if you're a stylist who has been grinding, but you're not generating a big enough income. And the thought of taking more clients and working longer hours is just really not an option for you. You're also in the right place if you're a stylist who has been trying to build your clientele, but you haven't been able to. This is something that I've noticed a lot with a lot of stylists that DM me. That seems to be kind of like the number one issue that a lot of stylists are facing. So we're going to be covering that in this masterclass. Now, you are also in the right space if you are a stylist and after working in the salon, you still haven't found your specialty service that you can brand and focus on. Maybe you feel a little bit overwhelmed with an array of a menu, and I want to help you with that as well in this masterclass. And then lastly, you are in the right place if you've been contemplating giving up, but something inside of you knows the cash cow the beauty industry is, and you know that you are worthy and deserving of all that it has to offer. And you are also wondering, what exactly is it that I'm doing wrong? So I want to take a second just to focus in on this cash cow avatar that I have on here, because we are going to be highlighting some cash cow facts throughout this masterclass, just to kind of let you guys know how big the beauty industry is, and also to how you can tap in to this. I mean, it's really just a treasure trove of not only information but also just of income, and I want to help you out with that today. So I am so excited that you are here for multiple reasons, but the number one reason is because I really want to get you on track and help you to focus on the remaining portion of this year, because I am recording this in July of 2023, and I want to make sure that you are closing out this year strong, or if you are watching this in the future, that you are starting out the next 12 months from the date that you're watching this very strong, and where by the end of those 12 months your career path is trajected in a different direction than what it currently is now. So just in case if you are wondering and you are not familiar with me, I am Chevon Sharp Langston, and some fun facts about me is I love watching Jane Austen type movies, which are like Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, things of that nature. Please don't ask me why. I have no valuable explanation. I also love traveling. I love to decorate, and I love cooking. I've been a stylist for 20 years, and every time that I say that, there's like an alarm that goes off in my head that just hollers out like, yikes, where does all that time go? Like, how did 20 years go by that fast? I have absolutely no idea, but here we are. And I am also a six-figure hairstylist and have been consistently for, I want to say, about 10 years now. And so I am going to be sharing with you three of the six-figure insiders that I know and that I've used to earn six figures within my beauty business. Now, why this is important, and I kind of want to get into this because I really want you to watch this video until the end, because these are three keys that I am going to be dropping here. And the first reason why you want to make sure that you continue to watch this to the end is number one, for clarity. So you have talent and skill when it comes to doing hair, but you're not sure how or when you can step into that wealth and flow, and you've got questions. Also, why this is important is time. So you don't have a consistent clientele, and you know that building one is going to be the key to your business success, but thus far it has been a slow process, and we just really don't have time for that. Like, we got to get you moving, we got to get you on the right track, and we've really got to get you set up to build your clientele to the point where it is exploding and you are pre-booked months in advance. And then the last reason why this is important is because this is going to break some barriers. So right now, you may feel like you are on the hamster wheel. I know back when I first started being a hairstylist, I constantly felt like I was doing all this work, but I really was not making any type of advancement. So, how do you maximize yourself and your skills? Break through to earning more, and how do you live the life that you want to live, meaning that you're not going to be living inside of the salon. Now, imagine if it was about you. So, you spent the day at the salon doing services that you love and that you have mastered. Imagine if you were getting 10 new booking inquiries a week minimum from clients that fit your dream client profile. So these are going to be people that are just going to be touching base with you to see how they can get into your chair or inquiring about your services. If you're getting 10 people inquiring per week, let's just play devil's advocate and say that half of them are booking. That's 5 new bookings per week. In a month, that's going to give you 30 brand new clients. Now, the last thing that I want you to imagine is if you got unstuck from behind the chair and you earned more than you ever have before. Now, I'm talking the 6 figure mark minimum, and you were free to do all the things you can't right now, like take a Saturday off every month. So, Saturday is kind of like one of those days. I know, even for me as a 20-year veteran, it still is like my moneymaker. It's the piggy bank day of the week. I generally do not tend to take it off, but if I want to, I do have the opportunity to do so. And I also want that for you. Now, here is what happened to me when I broke into the 6 figure mark of being a stylist. I went on a 2 week train hopping every 2 days, 40th birthday celebration across the country of Switzerland. It was like a dream vacation for me that I had planned for quite some time. And I was able to do all the things that I wanted to do and then some. I mean, there was no expense spared. I was able to go out of the country and I mean, 2 weeks is a long time to not be at home, but I was able to do that because of the type of beauty business I have built over the years. The next thing that happened to me was surviving COVID. Now, I am located in the sunshine state of California, but we were also the state that was affected the most by the COVID shutdowns. We were shut down for about 8 months out of the year. And this is, believe it or not, the actual POS system report from the year of 2020. So you could see between April and June, we were not doing anything. And then between August and September, it was kind of like up and down because we were constantly opening our doors and then turning around 2 days later and having to close. So COVID was really something that kind of like made or broke your business. And luckily for us, it was a made type of situation where I was really able to tap into other things that I knew how to do or that I had learned how to do. And then that's how we are here today with Sharp Beauty University because I had the time to sit back and make courses because I went from working, Wednesday through Saturday every week, unless I was on vacation, to doing absolutely nothing for 8 months out of a year. But you can also see, as far as the sales were concerned, that we still hit the midpoint of 100K. We still generated $51,000, even though we were closed for the majority of the year and kind of up and down even afterwards because of COVID. Now, one thing that I do want to highlight is the difference between one year to the next. So remember, 2020 was kind of like a up and down type of situation for us, but in 2021 we were open the straight way through. We didn't have any type of closures or anything, and you can see here that we hit $89,000 in that year. Now, I do have other forms of payment that I accept outside of Square, and so I just wanted to really show you guys this graph because it gives you, I guess, the most detail, I would say, as far as like where your high points are and where your low points are throughout the course of the month. You can even break it down by the week and even by the day. The last thing that I want to highlight is that I have been car hopping about every 2 years. Now, I love cars. My papa was a mechanic, and so I have always really been into cars. I think it's just something that's in my DNA. And I am currently in a dream car of mine that I had on my vision board in 2019. Maybe the tail end of 2019 is when I did my vision board, which was for the year of 2020. But of course, we just kind of went over what happened in 2020, but I was able to get it in 2021. So these are the different things that you can do, not only, your business business surviving being shut down, but just also the things that you can do for fun and play outside of being a hairstylist when you hit that benchmark of making six figures or more. Now, I want to go ahead and get into some cash cow fun facts because I already know the thoughts that are kind of creeping into your head. Like, okay, yeah, that sounds great, but can I really make that much money doing hair? So I just want to go ahead and make sure that throughout the course of this masterclass that we're going to be looking at some cash cow fun facts, and we're going to be going over just how big our industry is and just how much revenue it generates, not in 10 years, but in one single year. So how big is the beauty industry? In 2020, even though we had the whole COVID situation shut the whole world down, the beauty industry still generated $483 billion. Let that sink in. We're not talking about million, we're talking about $1 billion. By 2027, the beauty industry is set to increase and generate over $784 billion. So when you look at those numbers on that large a scale, that grandeur of a scale, when we're talking about 100K going into your pocket for services that you offer, and you basically are the beauty industry, it doesn't seem like it's that far fetched. It really kind of makes it soak in that this is something that can be done. This is something that you are going to do. And with these three gems that I'm going to be dropping on you, you're going to be able to do it faster than maybe watching a bunch of YouTubes or trying to go at this alone. So, the purpose of this masterclass, of course, is for you to become a six-figure hairstylist, because why not? $784 billion. I mean, come on. We do the hair, we buy the products, we teach the clients, like we are the beauty industry. So the important things for me, or the purpose for me of doing this masterclass, is number one, to share. I want to share with you the three most important keys to making six figures in your beauty business, because I am, and it can be done. You can do it too. The second thing is because I really want to simplify this for you. I don't want this to be something where you just kind of feel like, oh, it's only for people who've been doing hair for 20 years, or it's only for stylists who live in a certain state. No, 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 no. We're talking about, this is something that any stylist who lives anywhere in any part of the world can accomplish. This is a goal that you can reach. And I want to help you with a new way of approaching building your service menu, building your clientele, and you building out a schedule that makes it all much more simpler than what it used to be, especially when I first became a hairstylist. And we'll get into that a little bit later. And then the last thing is because I wanted to discuss and kind of show you the ways that we can work together. So I want to explain how I can work alongside of you and really get your beauty business revamped and attract your evergreen clientele now. Now, again, I'm a hairstylist of 20 years, but I recently turned into a coach during COVID, which we kind of went over already. And I really want to express to you that you are my reason why. These results, again, are not just limited to me and to my experience. And during the COVID shutdowns, one of the things that really pricked at my heart was thinking of all of the salon owners or hairstylists, and especially the ones who were fresh out of cosmetology school, or maybe in the first 5 years of their career, how this was really going to negatively impact us as a community and also as an industry. And so that is really what gave me the drive to create Sharp Beauty University. And so I've created online courses that have trained over 4,000 stylists worldwide. Sharp Beauty Lounge helped me to rent booths to stylists, kind of like, hone my skills and really teach people in person and one on one. And then I started getting approached by stylists via Instagram who wanted to come in for one on one sessions as well. And I kind of did that a little bit. But then I also launched some products that would help stylists create a one of a kind salon experience for their clients, like my trademarked Spa Poo shampoo bombs. So my stylist students are stylists who work in salons, they work in private suites, they are also salon owners, and some even work from home. Many have credited my training to aiding them to set their business up to generate a revenue of a minimum of $100,000 per year after they were done with the trainings. Now, I've been a stylist since I was a little girl. but technically licensed since I was 25. So this is a picture of baby coach Chevon when I was in high school. I don't remember if this was 10th, ninth or 10th grade, but this was definitely JV because this is my JV uniform. And I was already curling my hair with Marcel curling irons when I was that young. Now, I've done a lot of things right, but I've also done a lot of things very, very wrong. So today I'm going to be giving you the tea. I'm not going to be holding anything back. Nothing is holds bar here. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this is me as a stylist who re-entered the beauty industry and was struggling. I was a product junkie with no clients to use them on. And then I met Dion and learned that the beauty industry was and is a cash cow. I knew I wanted to be a stylist that was successful and I knew I wanted more. Now, Dion is not the one sitting immediately next to me. That's Janine. Shout out to Janine. Dion is sitting next to Janine, but the cash cow phrase came from Dion. Like I remember one day we were just talking and she was like, "No, this is a cash cow. Like if you work this right, like you can do whatever you want to do. Like you don't have to feel like, oh, you got to get another job or, you got to slave away." She was like, you could do this. Like this is not going to be complicated at all. And so then that's when I started assisting her and she became my mentor and I was a assistant to her for 5 years solid. I'm sorry, for 1 year solid, not 5 years, but just 1 year. And when I tell you that I was tired, my hands were dry and ashy. I mean, some mornings I really had to drag myself into the salon. But when I tell you the wealth of information that I learned just from that experience, I would not trade that for anything. Like you could give me ashy hands every day. Now I generated enough money to pay my bills. Yes, these ladies, because there was three of them that I was assisting, they were clocking at least 12 clients minimum per day, Wednesday through Saturday, rain, sleet, hail, or snow. Now, I want you to make sure that you put a pin in that. So if you are taking notes, I want you to write down 12 clients minimum each day because I want to touch on that once we get into this other portion of the presentation. Now, as I grew in skill, product knowledge, and tool usage, I began to build my own clientele. So much so that in 2012, my dad actually gifted me my very first salon, and I was open for 2 months. And after being open for 2 months, a car drove through the front of the salon and it's still shocking to even say it out loud, but it really did happen. Here are photos of what I drove up to at 3 o'clock in the morning. But I was doing enough clients and making enough income to the point where I was able to recover in a week. Now, remember, I said that I did a lot of things wrong. So, one of the things that I did wrong was I had not gotten my business insurance yet. I was still kind of like playing around with the numbers, getting quotes, something that I should have done prior to opening my doors. And so, of course, I didn't have my business insurance yet. And so I had to pay for that all out of pocket. Luckily, my owner that I was working with at the time went on ahead and covered the cost of repairing the wall, but I repaired everything on the inside and the windows. Then, unfortunately, in January of 2013, my dad, who gave me the salon, ended up passing away. And by August of that same year, I had had surgery and a 2 day, what was supposed to be a 2 day hospital stay turned into an 8 day stay. After that, the salon ownership had kind of exchanged hands and was owned by someone else. And I fell out of lease negotiations with that property owner. And I was back at square one when I came back from my 6 week recovery. But this time was very different for me. Now, remember, I told you to put a pin in the fact of the 12 clients per day because that's what I was also doing when I first opened my first salon. But my aha moment during my 6 week leave was I decided and I knew that clientele was the key. I had to put myself first. And then if I did it once, I knew that I could do it again. I mean, what would be the challenge there? But I knew that I did not want to do what I saw while assisting and what I had done up to this point. I didn't want to see 12 clients per day. While the money was good, don't get me wrong, and I don't knock nobody's hustle if that's what you choose to do. But for me, I kind of felt like time is more valuable than money, and I didn't want to live my life in the shop. One of the reasons why I came to that conclusion was because my dad passed away at 58 years old. And I remember a really good family friend of ours had kind of, was having a conversation with him like towards his last days. And one of the things that my dad said, because he was a physician assistant, so he used to work 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. So, we would just kind of see each other in passing towards the end of his life. But he said that he wished he would not have worked so much and that he would have traveled and saw a little bit more of the world than what he did. And that was something that really hit home for me because I was mirroring what I saw, my parents do. Plus, I was also mirroring what I saw my mentor do. And I knew that I did not want to do that the second time around. So I ended up rebuilding my clientele. And by 2015, I opened up my second salon. And that is where I currently am now, where I'm also recording this masterclass. And so, how did I go from a stylist who quit to an assistant to a salon owner, then to a stylist again, rebuilding her clientele to a salon owner yet again? So, let's go ahead and get into it. But before I do, I really want to do a vibe check and I want to know, are you ready to secure that six-figure bag? I hope you are because we are about to get into it immediately right now. The first thing is going to be your high-end service menu. And this is one of my favorite things to go over with stylists because we get arrested by our clients and by what's happening on social media and we feel like we just have to offer everything. But that is not the case. You can have a high-end service menu made up of styles that number one you love, that you have mastered and you where you've created a one of a kind guest experience where you kind of know that your clients are not going to be getting this type of service anywhere else but with you. So again, this is one of our six-figure alumni, Shaloy, and her her beauty business is called Her Royal Crown, and this is her booking page. And I wanted to use her as an example because she really took all of the things that I taught in Six Figure Stylist Society and implemented them immediately, and her career just simply took off. But she is only doing the services that she wants to do. She is not doing services that she hates. Now, I want to do a quick little poll and I want to find out, do you have a service or services that you love and that you've mastered? Yes or no? Make sure that you write this down because I want you to see these answers for yourself. So you can put, no, I don't have services that I love and that I've mastered, or yes, I do. The next thing is, have you created a one of a kind guest experience? Meaning, like for example, with my Spa Poo shampoo bombs, that was something that I created for myself and for my clients. And then I started retailing them to my stylist students because I wanted them to have that ability to offer that service as well. But it's a one of a kind guest experience. Most of my clients that come in have never experienced it before. And so they end up falling in love with me immediately at the shampoo bowl when they get it done. Now, the last thing is, are you doing any services right now that you hate? And I want you to be honest with yourself. Don't think of, oh, that service makes a lot of money. I hate it, but I'm still going to do it. Do you like the services that you offer? Yes or no? If you hate a particular service, write that down. So here are my services, and I do what I love. I do silk presses, traditional weaves, and ponytails. That is basically the gist of what my service menu looks like. I don't really do anything outside of that. There are some variations in between those three services, so my menu does appear like it has a lot of variety. But for the most part, those are the three areas that I play around in and that I really love to work on. Now, most stylists think that you have to offer every single style under the sun or the Instagram trend wave style in order to be successful. Here is what happens when you think that. The first thing is you diminish your talents. So let's say, like, if you just naturally know how to do hair color, like hair color is your jam, you just naturally know how to do it, you excel in hair color, but you're fooling around with, let's say, tape ins or some other style that doesn't have anything to do with what you naturally know how to do. So what you're doing is you're pretty much diminishing your natural talents and your creativity when you ride trend waves that are not you. Like, if that's not something that you want to do, you shouldn't have to do it, right? Well, that is correct, because your dream clients want whatever style, they want whatever texture, whatever genre of hair you specialize in. These things are going to attract those types of clients. So you saw my service menu. I specialize in silk presses, traditional weaves, and ponytails. People who wear frontals or wigs do not hit me up. And that's not because I'm throwing shade towards them or they're throwing shade towards me. It's just because they look at my Book Insider, look at my Instagram, and they don't see that there. So they move on to the next stylist and vice versa. So this is how you can create your high-end service menu, because your clients are going to pay high-end for your specialty, mastery, and customization. A brain surgeon makes much more than a general surgeon. Now let's go ahead and get into another cash cow fact. And I just want you to see these numbers, like see them written down, because $784 billion dollars is kind of a lot to swallow. It's a lot to imagine how many zeros that is. I wish they would have put that on this chart, but I think this still serves as a good example. We're going to go from being in the middle of a pandemic and pulling in over $483 billion to being 5 years out of a pandemic where the world was shut down, to generating $784 billion by 2025. It's 2023, so that's 2 years from now. You earning six figures is totally possible. So the six figure insider is that you can specialize in anything you want and you can charge whatever you want. So instead of you asking yourself, should I specialize in the style popular on Instagram, or I don't know how much to charge, it's going to turn into, I'm specializing in a silk press and I'm charging $150 for that service. What should I include? And this is something that you're going to be asking yourself. You're not going to be asking another client. Now, you may want to run these things by, if you have a mentor or if you have like another stylist bestie, where you can kind of go over like, okay, like what's our menu going to look like when someone books for a silk press. That's totally fine. Now, I want you to look at the high end service menu structure that I've created, because this really helps you to have less communication with a potential client, and also allows them the ability to see how business savvy you are and what you have to offer them as a hairstylist before they ever even sit in your chair. So the first thing is going to be, all of these services are services that I have mastered or that you have mastered. I create a one of a kind experience, the description and the photo, and then the premium pricing. And so this is what an example of my Spa Poo shampoo bomb treatment and press to curls. So you can see that I have a photo of someone who's gotten this service. Their hair is pressed and curled. I have a very detailed description. So a person would not be asking, I wonder if a shampoo comes with that, or I wonder if the hair is really curled, or is it just flat ironed? There's a full-fledged description, there's a photo, all of the information that they need is right there at their fingertips. So, do you notice anything? The first thing that I want you to notice is how simple this is. So, it's simple and to the point, plus you can create it today or tomorrow. The last thing is the high end information. So now, when someone inquires with you, all the information that they need, or that you can even copy and paste, or the link that you can send to them, is going to be on your booking page. So, specialist benefits, which we kind of tapped on that when I said a brain surgeon makes more than a general surgeon. So, the first thing that's a benefit from becoming a specialist is, number one, you are becoming. So, and this is like, when I thought of the word becoming, it made me think of Michelle Obama's book, because I mean, look at how she went into the White House versus how she exited the White House. Like, she became the forever first lady. And we want you to become the master of the services that you specialize in. The next thing that you're going to get that's a benefit is you are going to become a photog. You will have a ton of photos of that style or the styles that you specialize in to set yourself as the go to stylist for that service or services. The next thing is going to be the cream, the cash rules everything around me. You are going to be able to charge a higher price point because these are services that you specialize in and that the clients know they're going to be getting this one of a kind experience with you as a hairstylist. And then the very last thing is that the clients, they will know, like they're going to totally know what they're going to be getting when they book with you. Now, I want to ask you, do you see how simple your high end service menu could be? Simple, yet transformational. Because that's really what this masterclass is about is we are taking some very simplistic things, but we're transforming them so that when someone books with you, they experience all of that before they ever even get into your chair. So remember, you're going to be creating your high end service menu with services that you have mastered. You're going to create a one of a kind guest experience. You're going to have a description and a photo, plus, you're going to have your premium pricing. Now, this is another one of our Six Figure Stylist alumni, and this is the KB Glam. Her name is also Kendra, and she was able to really get onto her booking site and really start to change the way that it looked for her clients so that they really could get a sense of who she was, not only as a stylist, but as a business owner. So let's go ahead and recap. The first six figure insider is that we're creating a high end service menu made up of the styles that we love, that we've mastered, and we have created a one of a kind guest experience. Now, I just want to go ahead and get into one of my alumni's testimonials, and this is going to be from Kendra, the KB Glam. And I just love her. Kendra is a powerhouse. If you don't follow her, you need to. She is like a social media beast. But here is what she had to say about her experience with the high end service menu. So she put, "Hey, love, I just updated my prices last week to where they should be. I would say my positioning in the marketplace, meaning your professionalism, business structure, verbiage, and educating the clients has allowed me to create a high end service menu. My prices are average currently. I've also leveraged my client reviews to attract my ideal clients too." So you can see how this changing your mindset is also occurring while you're changing your booking site. You become more business savvy, you become more mindful of how you're communicating with your clients, even if it is just a description of a hair service on your booking site. Now, let's go ahead and get into six figure insider number two, which is going to be your six figure schedule. So, how can you create a six figure schedule that fits your life and run a successful beauty business at the same time? Is it possible? Absolutely. Now, most stylists think that you need to be at the salon whenever the client wants an appointment. Or they think that you have to work from sunup to sundown to hit six figures or specialize in celebrity hair like Kim Kimball. Most sellers also think that you can't maintain an evergreen clientele when you have a very strict and set schedule. But here is what happens when you think that. Number one, and this is the most scary because I've done it myself personally, is that you build a clientele that isn't based on your needs as a stylist, but on each individual client's needs. Now, we're talking about you're building your clientele where you're fully booked all the time. Imagine having to accommodate all those different people and all of their different lifestyles that they have versus them getting in where they fit in. I mean, it makes my head spin just thinking about going back to that way of running my business. Now, one thing that I want to touch on, because I kind of talked about this when I lost my first salon and I had surgery in the year that my dad died. So, this is what happened to me because I built my clientele in that way. You finally get a chance to go on vacation or have a family emergency, and all of a sudden you are perceived as unprofessional, and you may lose clients, or even worse, get bad reviews. So remember when I told you that I had to go on a 6-week leave because I had surgery? I also took some time off because my dad had passed away. And believe it or not, I did have a few clients who were a bit upset at the fact that they couldn't just come in when they wanted to, like how they did before. Now, one thing that I do want to stress is this: that is not the clients doing anything to me personally. It's the way that I trained them, because that's the way that I was running my business at the time. So you spent the majority of your time pleasing your clients who you believed would stick with you until the end, only to find out that they didn't care about any of that. They really just wanted their hair done. And I'm not saying like they don't care about you, like, oh, they don't like you as a person. They may love you as a person, may even bring you gifts. But at the end of the day, this is a business. You are a business owner. Your stylist chair is a business. Even if you rent a booth, rent a suite, or you work from home, this is a business. So it's not about when you run to their every beck and call. It's about creating a schedule that works for you and finding the dream clients who fit into that schedule. So the six-figure insider is you can build a clientele so large and have overflow, and it can be like mine, where how my schedule was pre-retirement, which I've come back out of retirement. But prior to that, I was only working on Fridays and Saturdays, and my clients were fighting over who was going to get in on the very first appointment on Friday or on Saturday. And I just pretty much leave my books open for 60 days, and it's like, hey, it's open. When you need to book, you got to get on there and book your appointments. But if not, I can try and see if someone cancels. And then, of course, that never really works out. So what ends up happening is people book in advance to the point where I really have no availability if you're trying to come in a few days before. Now, remember, I said before I retired, I was only working 2 days. I was generating about $700 a day, depending on the service. Now, mind you, I do offer very high end services that also include hair bundles. And so I can pull off $700 easily with just one weave and a ponytail if those two clients are purchasing brand new bundles. So that's also something for you to also be mindful about. Now, is it hard? This is one of the number one questions that I get asked by my stylist students is this hard to implement? And I want to say, to be honest, no. But it does take a week for you to track and trace your time. So about 15 minutes after, well, I would say it takes you a week to track and trace your time. Then once you have these worksheets filled out, it takes about 15 minutes to do the math and create your schedule. It's really quick, but you do have to take out a week to track and trace, like, what are you doing on a daily basis. So creating your six-figure schedule is going to go a little something like this. And this is if you use the six-figure stylist equation to generate your work schedule. So this is going to be your busy days at home plus your busy days at the salon is going to equal your schedule, and that's going to give you that work-life balance. For booking, I use Acuity. It's my go-to, and it has been since I switched to them. And I want to say I switched to Acuity maybe about 6 years ago, and I have not switched from them since then. It's very easy to use, and I really don't. I just set it and forget it. I really don't have to do anything to it unless I'm altering my schedule in some kind of way. So let's go ahead and recap really quickly. So remember, it's not about living at the salon or being stuck behind the chair. It's about attracting your dream clients that will fit into your schedule that you have created. And you are going to create that schedule by tracking and tracing your time for at least 1 week. And then you're going to sit down and do your busy days at home, your busy days at the salon. That's going to equal your schedule. And then you will be so shocked at how much more work life balance you have after you have implemented this in. Remember to use Acuity for online booking to automate your availability. If you are kind of like shopping around and maybe you don't know which one you want to use, Acuity is the one that I use and have used for quite some time now. So we've gone over the first two six-figure insiders, and I want to have one of my other six-figure alumni chime in, and this is going to be Ashanti Stevenson. Ashanti is a salon owner in Tuskegee, Alabama. I love her dearly. She is not only a beast of a hairstylist, but also as a salon owner. And the schedule really helped her because, of course, as a salon owner, you have much more responsibilities and a list of things to do versus your booth rental stylist. So here's what she had to say. She put creating a set schedule was the best thing that I could do for my business. It helps me become more organized in my days as well as plan my outside life better. Before having a set schedule, I was all over the place, not knowing when I had clients. Now my clients know exactly when I am working and when I am not. It's also easier for me to take off work at a late notice if I need to. So, this is something that you want to implement now, especially if you are a stylist and you eventually want to transition into salon ownership. You really want to get your schedule under control now because if you don't, it will continue to spiral out of control, especially when you become an owner. So we're going to go ahead and check in again. And I just want to know really quickly, is this helpful for you before we get into our very last six-figure insider? I hope that it is. So let's go ahead and cover number 3. And that's going to be the thing that I've been talking about this whole time. And you probably have been like, what is an evergreen clientele? An evergreen clientele is a clientele that never has, I want to say maybe what's a perfect word to use for evergreen clientele? It's really like a rotation, like a solid rotation. So, like for example, we're women, our clients are women. So, if one of them gets pregnant and goes on leave for having a baby, or it's the summertime and some people are getting braids, you constantly have new clients or clients who are wearing weaves that are constantly coming around in this rotation. So, there's always someone sitting in your chair. Your books are always full, you're always booked and busy. So, how do you build an evergreen clientele no matter what stage of your career you're in? Most stylists think that you have to do those two things that we just went over. Number one, that you have to offer styles that are trending on Instagram, that trending wave, or you have to work based on your client's needs. And most stylists also think that you have to offer specials or prices that are so cheap that clients can't resist and that they then feel pressed to book with you. But caution to that, and we'll get into that in a second. And here's what happens when you think that you treat your beauty business like it's just something to do or as a hustle. The clients you attract, remember, we said we're attracting clients off of specials, real cheap prices. These clients are not our dream clients, and they will not fall in line with what we have just created, meaning they are not going to be filling your high end service menu because where did those new prices come from? Because remember, you're charging them these cheap prices just to get them in the door. And then number two, they are going to be wondering, like, why do I have to book on this schedule? You let me come in the last time on Sunday at 5 o'clock in the morning. How come I can't do it again? And then you end up back on the hamster wheel working when they want to get their hair done. And the killer part is having to slowly inch your prices up to what you really want them to be because most people will not return if there is an increase that's over $20, maybe even $10. So specials don't build clienteles. Evergreen clienteles, especially, and reaching your six-figure goal is worth the initial time investment into creating our high-end service menu and our six-figure schedule. So the six-figure insider is you can attract dream clients on any social media platform, but more specifically on Instagram if you use the BIG method. So what is the BIG method? It's not Notorious BIG. This is going to be your BIG. So it's going to be your brand plus Instagram is going to equal your BIG method. So you are going to be showcasing your brand on Instagram. Now, mind you, back in the day when I first started 20 years ago, we didn't have social media. All we had was our personal appearance, flyers, and business cards. So these were the ways that we attracted clients, and they still work, but just on a much smaller scale. So with Instagram, it now becomes your virtual business card and place to showcase your brand vibes. Now, in Six Figure Stylist, we do cover all things brand, like when you post and the way that your social media is set up, how it showcases the brand vibes of your dream clients. And we also have a module where we tap in and take like a real deep dive into who is your dream client, just so that you can make sure that your business is really focusing on them, like laser focusing on them, because that's who you want to sit in your chair. Now, you can see here our crest for Six Figure Stylist Society, the different things that we go over: scheduling and planning, branding and target marketing, social media marketing, because there's a difference between the two, booking and a high end service menu. We also cover customer service and relations, because after you get all these clients in, you are going to need a way to kind of filter through and different things that you need to do in order to address maybe some situations that may arise because you're dealing with so many different personalities. And then the very last thing that we cover is product knowledge and stylist skill sets. So back to the Six Figure Insider. So what you post and how you present your business when clients visit your Instagram should align, because it is your virtual business card. Now, these clients learn your services, your booking site with pricing and availability are going to all be available without wanting to have to communicate with you directly. You can always offer consultations, but I find that most clients are used to this now with online booking. And so it really cuts down on the amount of time that you have to communicate over the phone. So again, the Six Figure Insider is: this is how your clientele builds evergreen and on autopilot, and how you become pre-booked months in advance. So those two insiders that we went over initially, coupled with you using the big method, they all three of those kind of like work together as a triplet pair, where they're going to be giving you all of that momentum, where clients are going to be looking at your Instagram. They're going to see all those pictures that you took. They're going to look at your booking site with all that information on there. They're going to see your schedule. And this is really how you are going to build that evergreen dream clientele. So let's go ahead and briefly recap. Specials don't build evergreen clientels, and reaching your six figure goal is worth the initial time investment into creating your high end service menu and your six figure schedule. Remember, your notorious BIG method is going to be your brand showcased on Instagram. Now, I want to go over another cash cow fun fact, because this is about social media, which we just went over. So, global share of social media actions by product category. You can see that number one is apparel and accessories at 58%, and then health and beauty comes in at 32%. So, people are on Instagram looking for their next hairstyle that they're going to get. They're looking for a new stylist. They're looking for products. This is something that really, if you're not tapping into, at least on a somewhat consistent basis, you're leaving money on the table. Now, I want to go ahead and recap over Shaloy, because I know that we kind of touched on her in the initial beginning about our booking website. And one of the things that Shaloy really excelled in was with her branding. And everything that she has is so cohesive. It is absolutely beautiful. And most of her clients, I'm pretty sure, when they go on her booking site, are excited to come in, because they probably want to see, like, what does her station look like, or what does her salon look like, because her Instagram and her booking page are so gorgeous with the branding. And here's what she had to say about her time in Six Figure Stylist Society and the social media that we went over. So she put, it helped me out a lot, especially the social media class. I became more confident with posting more, making reels daily, and being able to create content freely without fear. The Pinterest class helped brand my business and attract the clients I lean towards. So we even dropped some gems on Pinterest inside of Six Figure Stylist Society. So here are our three six-figure insiders. We created our high-end service menu. We also made sure that our menu is of services that we like, that we love, that we've mastered, and where we're creating a one-of-a-kind guest experience. That also transferred over into our high-end service menu, where our clients or our dream clients, potentials at least, get to see what we offer before they even set foot in our chair. Plus, we figured out how we can take those two key insiders and formulate them in a way on our Instagram where we can now start building an evergreen dream clientele. So, did you learn how I went from a stylist who quit to an assistant, to a salon owner, to a stylist rebuilding, to a salon owner again? These three keys plus the other things that I go over in Six Figure Stylist Society are all things that I have done in my business and that I am continuing to do in my business.